I agree completely, and actually it's a good example of how personal the answer is on when and how do I use technology, right? It's the organism, and in this case the teacher, that sees the affordance or doesn't see it. Like the scenario that you're posing, it is completely viable. If you can make it work, I say, go ahead and do it. But you found that answer for yourself because of the context, because you know the students, you know how resourceful they can be, you know how driven they can be. All that information changes how you approach this technology and what it allows you to do, or what you perceive it allows you to do. And definitely, students are resourceful, and you got to tap into that if they're motivated. And I guess thinking about engagement and how technology is engaging, they'll find a way because they are motivated, because it is engaging, right? And that's part of why we do it, right? Look for those new things. Any other question, comment? Yes?
Are there people working on design of material for instructional technology proficient in any kind of area of knowledge?
Yes, there's a lot of work. We saw an example, for instance, Pratt. Pratt is designed for education. Yeah, the authors are geeks, but they were worried about education first. And they're tech people, but they were worried about education. And there's a lot more. For instance, I shared with a friend the other day, crayon physics. Have you ever heard of crayon physics? Anybody? It's an excellent game. It has educational design in mind, and it is made to teach physics concepts like incline, like free fall, like pulleys, and what is it? Palanca, I can't remember in English right now. Anywho, and it's beautifully designed. It has a crayon interface, so you're actually drawing with a crayon. So, and the idea is transparency. What's more transparent or more relatable than crayon on paper, right? So there is a lot of design effort. There is a lot of discussion on what the best design is for education. Moodle. Moodle is terrible. It's a beast. It's a three-headed beast with two tails. But there is a lot of discussion on how to make Moodle more accessible. And if you go to moodle.org and into their forums, they're constantly developing Moodle and thinking. It's got to be easier, it's got to be quicker, it's got to be, but they're fighting a tough battle because Moodle is open source, so anybody can contribute to it. And that makes for any kind of unified design effort a nightmare, right? In an open source software developing environment, you have almost no control about what direction it's going to go because it's a mass of people. So, but there is discussion. When it comes to Moodle, most of the discussion centers around instructional design. This activity, this type of activity, how does it fit in constructivism? That's the discussion. With Moodle, you can make tests, and the tests have different kinds of items. So you can have a true or false item, or a matching item, or a multiple choice item. Well, there's teachers out there that are asking, well, I want to make a puzzle item, because puzzles, work in my class, and there's discussion on developing that puzzle item to include into Moodle. And actually today, when you install Moodle, it comes with about 10 question types. But if you go into moodle.org, you can download 10 other question types that people have developed. So there is a lot of effort in instructional design. Yes.
My comment was because we saw it, I but we have to be, or have the same access to the affordance you're talking about.
Actually, if you think about innovation in instructional technology, most of it is done in the military because they have a need to train people fast. So they invest a lot of money in all those simulations, the flight simulation. You know, military developed flight simulator trickles down into a commercial developed flight simulator, right? Commercially available flight simulator. But they invest a lot of money and time in this kind of thing. Other areas should too, and there are. In the scientific areas today, there's a lot of virtual labs. There's commercial and free ones. Some of the free ones are excellent. There's a chemistry lab, virtual chemistry lab, where you drag, much like I was dragging things on screen, you drag the different chemical components, mix them virtually, and it gives you a report on that reaction, chemical reaction. I'd say, and this is after games, the educational community online is probably the most active community. After games and pornography. The educational community is really, really active. If you join, and there's a lot of ways to get information. There's a lot of blogs. And there are blogs at different levels. There are the blogs of people who are actually in the classroom using this technology. There's blogs of people who are designing this technology. And if you tap into that, you'll get a steady current of innovation. And not everything is something that you can actually jump in and use. Like I said, it depends on your circumstance, what it affords you. But you can keep in touch and keep up with what's going on. So, any other question or comment? Well, like I said in the beginning, the problem is choosing, and during these 3 days you saw a lot. Is there one thing that you feel you can handle, that you can jump into tomorrow? If there is, even if it's not the newest, even if it's not the most sophisticated, the idea is start using that, the one that you feel comfortable with. I don't feel comfortable with Pratt. Too many buttons in that thing. If anybody was there in that presentation, you saw that screen. It's like 3 screens, all with like 100 buttons each. Now, there are other tools that can give you the same, that can afford you some of the same benefits. For instance, Audacity is free. And Audacity gives you the ability to show the spectrogram and compare it to your own spectrogram by recording. It won't give you the pitch and intonation analysis that Pratt gives you, or it won't extrapolate only the high pitch to show you where you're hitting those high pitches. It won't do any of that, but it will afford you something that Pratt also affords you, which is the visual representation of the speech pattern. And that might be all you need for a student to see his speech pattern and how it is different from yours, and try to match it and have that visual reference. Well, maybe that's all I need, and Audacity will give me that. When using Pratt, I don't have enough experience to start using Pratt. I don't know enough about phonology, pitch, and intonation. I know the visual reference is useful for my students. That's all I know. So, based on my experience, Audacity is a better tool, right? If we come from my experience. So that's the tip, that's the suggestion. Pick one, pick something that you feel comfortable with, and start with that. Pick the best tool, and that is a personal answer, right? So thank you very much. I think we've gone beyond. Thank you.